You ever wondered why, no matter how much effort you put in, she suddenly just loses interest? One day you're talking, laughing, maybe even planning something together, and the next, it's like you don't exist. No calls, no texts, no signs. Just silence. And it hits you hard, right? You start doubting everything. Yourself, your moves, your worth. Here's the brutal truth nobody wants to tell you. It's rarely about what you did wrong or how you acted in those few moments she stopped replying. The reason she loses interest runs way deeper. It's about a feeling, an emotional signal she can't ignore, and you're either catching it or you're completely missing it. Let me break down the first reason why she pulls away, and trust me, it's not what you think. The first sign is when she feels like she's losing her freedom around you. Now, don't get it twisted. Freedom isn't about her having zero boundaries or doing whatever she wants whenever she wants. Freedom here means feeling like she can be herself without having to check in constantly or worry about how you'll react if she's honest. If you're constantly pushing for answers, over-texting, or trying to lock her down too fast, it triggers something deep inside her. She starts feeling trapped, and attraction instantly fades. Because attraction isn't just about excitement or fun, it's about emotional safety paired with space. Most guys think being persistent means winning her over, but what they're actually doing is suffocating the very thing that made her want to be around them in the first place. When you feel that pull, when she starts giving you less attention, it's often because she's testing the waters. She's trying to see if you can respect her boundaries or if you'll choke the life out of her freedom. The second sign, and this one kills attraction faster than anything else, is when you become predictable in her eyes. You might not even realize it, but humans are wired to crave novelty and surprise. If your conversations, your responses, your energy start to feel the same day after day, she starts to check out mentally. It's not about constant drama or chaos. It's about keeping some mystery, some edge, some unpredictability that makes her brain release dopamine, the chemical that fuels desire. When every interaction feels like a copy-paste version of the last one, attraction dies a slow, painful death. This doesn't mean you have to be fake or play games, but it means you have to bring energy and variety. Maybe a new story, a little teasing, or a fresh challenge that keeps her curious. Without that, you're just another boring guy on her list. The third sign is when she senses you lack your own purpose, and this one is the silent killer. Women pick up on your vibe, your energy, and one of the strongest signals they read is how much you have your own life. If you're constantly bending over backwards to please her, or if she feels like you're putting her at the center of your world too soon, she starts losing respect. And respect turns into attraction, or the lack of it. Having your own goals, passions, and social life isn't just attractive, it's magnetic. It sends a message that you're a man with value, someone who doesn't need her approval to feel whole. When that's missing, it's like you're handing over the reins of your life to her, and that's a fast track to losing her interest. These are just the first 3 signals that tell you why she's pulling away, and why you can't just fix it by sending another text or trying to win her back. Because this goes beyond surface-level moves. It's about the emotional dynamics between you two. I'm going to walk you through exactly how to stop this cycle and flip the script in your favor, but before that, let's really understand what happens inside her mind when she starts drifting away. Because if you don't know what's really going on, you'll keep repeating the same mistakes. What happens when she starts pulling away is not random. It's a reaction to what her subconscious is picking up about you and the relationship. And here's something few men realize. She's constantly evaluating whether being with you adds value or creates tension in her emotional world. The moment she senses more tension than value, her brain activates the run signal, even if she can't consciously explain why. You might think it's about words or actions, but most of the time it's about emotional energy. How you show up in her life, not just physically but psychologically, creates a feeling that either pulls her closer or pushes her away. And that feeling is influenced by something very primal, the balance between security and excitement. If you only give her security, it becomes predictable and boring. If you only give her excitement, it feels unstable and unsafe. The key is mastering the dance between the two. Women are wired to want both at the same time, a partner who makes them feel safe, but also alive. Another reason she loses interest is when you overinvest too soon. This happens when you reveal too much about yourself, your feelings, or your intentions before she's ready. Vulnerability is powerful, but timing is everything. If you pour your heart out early, she might get overwhelmed and subconsciously pull back because she feels the weight of expectations she's not ready to carry. This is where many men get confused. They think being honest and upfront will build connection, but it can actually scare her off if it comes too fast. The emotional brain reacts to pressure by retreating, not by moving forward. On the flip side, if you hold back too much, she'll feel like you're distant or not invested, which also kills attraction. So it's about finding that perfect rhythm, opening up just enough to build trust, but leaving some layers for her to discover. One more subtle but deadly reason she loses interest is when you stop leading the interaction. Leadership here isn't about controlling or dominating, it's about direction and confidence. When you're the man who sets the tone, chooses the activities, and takes charge of plans, she feels secure following you. It signals that you're capable and sure of yourself. But if you become passive, indecisive, or start waiting for her to take the lead, it creates confusion and frustration. She starts wondering if you really know what you want or if you're just along for the ride. And uncertainty kills desire. This is why so many guys get stuck in the friend zone or become invisible, because they give up their role as the emotional anchor in the connection. Women want a man who can lead, who can make decisions, who takes initiative without being pushy. Understanding these dynamics is crucial because once you grasp them, you stop playing reactive games and start playing proactive ones. You shift from chasing her approval to creating an experience that naturally pulls her toward you. That's when the real power of attraction kicks in. There's something else that most men overlook, something invisible but powerful, the way your energy fluctuates during your interactions. Attraction is not built on logic or reason, it's built on feeling. And feelings are triggered by energy. If you come across as inconsistent, hot one moment, cold the next, she starts to doubt where you stand, and doubt kills desire. It's like a roller coaster with no clear destination. She never knows if you're fully present or checking out. That inconsistency creates confusion, and the human brain avoids confusion because it's uncomfortable. So she starts to pull away without even realizing it. Another overlooked factor is how you handle rejection or setbacks early in the connection. Let's say she cancels plans or takes longer to respond. If your immediate reaction is to get anxious, beg for attention, or question her feelings, you're signaling low emotional resilience. Women sense that, and it undermines your attractiveness because it shows you're dependent on her approval to feel secure. On the other hand, if you can stay calm, keep your dignity, and maintain your life without making her the center of your world, you show emotional strength. That creates space for her to miss you, wonder about you, and eventually come back, if she's truly interested. Closely related is the importance of having a life that's bigger than the relationship. If your entire identity revolves around her or the potential relationship, she will pick up on that pressure. It makes her feel like she has to carry the weight of your happiness, and that's not attractive, it's exhausting. When you have passions, goals, and a social circle independent from her, it not only makes you more interesting, but it also gives her the freedom to come into your world rather than feeling trapped inside it. That freedom fuels attraction. One of the most subtle reasons she can lose interest is when there's a lack of emotional contrast. Emotional contrast is about creating highs and lows, moments of tension and release, like a well-written story that keeps you hooked because you don't know what's coming next. If every interaction is flat, neutral, or overly predictable, her brain doesn't get the emotional spikes that trigger desire. This contrast can be created with your tone, your words, or even your actions. Maybe you tease her lightly, then pull back with a mysterious silence. Or you show genuine warmth, then shift to confident independence. It's this push and pull, this dance of closeness and distance that keeps her emotionally engaged. If you avoid emotional contrast because you fear conflict or rejection, you're robbing yourself of one of the strongest tools to maintain her interest. Attraction thrives on that tension, but it has to be balanced with respect and authenticity. Another critical factor that often slips under the radar is how your emotional availability affects her interest. Emotional availability doesn't mean spilling your deepest feelings all the time or being vulnerable indiscriminately. It means being present and connected to your emotions without overwhelming her or losing control. If you're emotionally shut off, avoiding conversations about feelings, brushing off intimacy, or acting detached, she will sense that and interpret it as a lack of genuine connection. That creates distance, and no matter how much surface-level chemistry you have, without emotional depth, the bond weakens. But here's the trick. Being emotionally available doesn't mean being needy or clingy. It means you're grounded in your emotions but can express them with confidence. Women are drawn to men who can balance strength and sensitivity because it signals maturity and stability. At the same time, if you're overly emotional or erratic, you create instability, and that scares her away. The key is calibration, knowing when to share, when to listen, and when to hold your space. Another subtle dynamic is how your reaction to her flaws or imperfections shapes her attraction. When she feels judged, criticized, or not accepted for who she is, her interest fades quickly. But if you show genuine acceptance, even playful teasing that acknowledges her quirks without offense, it creates safety and trust. Acceptance isn't about ignoring red flags or settling for less than you deserve. It's about recognizing that everyone has imperfections, and your ability to embrace them without drama makes you stand out as a man who's confident and secure. This ties into the larger theme of confidence, not just in yourself but in the connection. If you doubt her or constantly question her feelings, she senses your insecurity, and that chips away at her desire. But if you hold space for her, show trust, and let things unfold naturally, you build a magnetic pull. One more reason she might lose interest is when you stop growing. Growth isn't just about career or money, it's about evolving mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. When you stagnate, you become predictable, and predictability kills attraction. She's attracted to a man who challenges himself, who learns new things, who's always becoming better. That energy of growth makes you compelling and inspires her to want to be part of your journey. On the contrary, if you settle into complacency, she feels like she's trapped in a rut with you, and that's a fast way to lose interest. One of the most overlooked aspects is how your ability to create emotional safety impacts her willingness to stay connected. Emotional safety isn't just about trust. It's about her feeling like she can be vulnerable around you without fear of judgment or abandonment. When she senses you might react unpredictably or pull away the moment she shows her true self, her defenses go up and attraction fades. This is why some men who seem confident on the surface still lose her interest. They haven't mastered the subtle art of creating a space where she feels truly seen and accepted. Emotional safety invites intimacy, and intimacy deepens attraction. Another layer to consider is the way you manage your own self-worth during the early stages of connection. When you base your value on whether she responds or not, you become reactive and desperate, and that's a major turnoff. Women are wired to pick up on your self-esteem levels, and low self-worth signals neediness and insecurity. But when you operate from a place of inner value, knowing that your worth isn't tied to her attention, you exude a calm confidence that pulls her in without chasing. That detachment paradoxically creates desire because it flips the dynamic. Now, she has to earn your attention. Also, it's crucial to recognize how your communication style influences her interest. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it. If your tone becomes overly serious, needy, or defensive, it kills attraction. Humor, light teasing, and playful banter release positive chemicals in her brain that keep her engaged. On the other hand, if your messages are bland, overly predictable, or flood her with heavy emotions too soon, she can mentally check out without saying a word. Communication is a dance. Knowing when to engage deeply and when to keep it light creates a rhythm that sustains interest. Then there's the way you respond to her independence. Some men interpret her need for space or time with friends as rejection, and they react by trying harder, sending more messages, or questioning her loyalty. But when you respect her independence and don't take it personally, you show emotional maturity. That maturity sparks attraction because it shows you're secure enough to let her have her own world. Women want a partner who is strong enough to hold his ground, not someone who clings or tries to control. The ability to let go without panic keeps the connection alive. What often goes unnoticed is how your consistency in behavior plays a silent but powerful role in her attraction. It's not about being predictable or boring, but about building trust through reliable actions. If you say one thing and do another, or if your mood swings wildly depending on how she responds, she starts questioning if you're someone she can depend on. That doubt creates anxiety beneath the surface, and while it may not be immediately obvious, it chips away at her desire over time. Consistency signals stability, and stability is a foundation for attraction, especially when paired with the right amount of mystery and excitement. Another angle to consider is how your capacity to handle emotional intensity influences her connection to you. Sometimes, when a woman starts to feel strong emotions, whether excitement, frustration, or vulnerability, she's looking for a partner who can hold space for that without reacting impulsively. If you get overwhelmed, defensive, or try to fix everything right away, you actually break the flow of connection. But if you stay grounded and open, letting emotions move through without judgment, you create a deeper bond. It's like being the calm center in the middle of a storm, and that calm attracts her back, even if she was pulling away before. It's also important to reflect on how your level of emotional independence shapes her interest. Emotional independence means you don't rely on her for your happiness or validation. When you have that, you come across as someone whole and balanced, which naturally draws her in. If you depend on her reactions or presence to feel good about yourself, it creates pressure that suffocates attraction. Instead, showing that you're okay being alone and that you enjoy your own company sends a magnetic message. You're a man who's complete, not a man searching for someone to complete him. On a related note, how you manage expectations in the early stages matters a lot. Setting too many expectations, or expecting her to behave a certain way, sets you up for disappointment and can push her away. Women pick up on this subtle pressure and might pull back to regain control of their autonomy. But if you keep expectations light, focus on enjoying the moment, and let things unfold naturally, it lowers resistance. That freedom encourages her to stay interested because she feels less trapped by rules or demands. Another crucial point that often gets overlooked is how your ability to create genuine curiosity affects her desire to stay engaged. When you live a life that's interesting and dynamic, you naturally become someone she wants to learn more about. But if you settle into routine or reveal everything too soon, there's no room left for mystery. Mystery isn't about playing games, it's about holding back enough to keep her intrigued, like a story she wants to keep reading. This curiosity fuels attraction because it triggers her brain to seek more, to wonder what's next. When you combine that with emotional depth and consistency, you create a powerful magnet. At the same time, remember that attraction is a two-way street. It's about how you show up, but also about how she chooses to engage. The best you can do is bring your highest energy, confidence, and authenticity. When you do that, you naturally filter in the right people and filter out those who aren't meant to stay. If you've been struggling with her losing interest, this isn't about changing who you are or pretending to be someone else. It's about understanding the unspoken emotional codes and using them to create connections that last. When you master these subtle dynamics, you stop chasing and start attracting. Now, if you want to dive deeper into these strategies and learn exactly how to flip the script in your favor, make sure you're subscribed and hit that like button. Drop a comment below sharing your experiences or questions. I read every single one, and it helps me create content that really helps you win. Remember, this journey isn't about luck. It's about knowing the real reasons behind attraction and how to use them wisely. Stick around because there's much more to uncover, and I'm here to guide you step by step.